Opening hook, gamma 0 to 30. You got your January payment, and something doesn't add up. Your Canada pension plan went up this year, just like the government said it would. But when you checked your bank account, your total deposit was actually lower than December. You didn't lose a benefit. You didn't get cut off. But the money coming in is less than before, and nobody sent you a letter explaining why. If this happened to you in January or February 2026, you are not alone. And this video is going to walk you through exactly what's happening, why it's happening, and what you need to understand about the relationship between CPP and GIS. Context and why this matters, 030 to 30. Here's what's going on. At the start of 2026, the Canada Pension Plan was indexed to inflation. That means your CPP payment increased, just like it does every January. For most recipients, CPP went up by around 2.7%. That's real. That increase is locked in. You are getting more CPP now than you were in December 2025. But here's the part that catches people off guard. If you also receive the Guaranteed Income Supplement, that CPP increase doesn't just add to your total income. It replaces part of your GIS, and depending on how much your CPP went up, your GIS may have gone down by even more. This isn't a mistake. It's not a glitch. It's how GIS is designed to work. The Guaranteed Income Supplement is income tested. That means the government calculates how much GIS you get based on your other income, including CPP. When your CPP goes up, your GIS automatically adjusts downward, and the formula Service Canada uses reduces your GIS by 50 cents for every additional dollar of CPP you receive. So yes, your CPP went up, but your GIS went down, and when you add the two together, your total monthly deposit may actually be lower than it was before the increase. That's what we're going to unpack today, step by step, so you understand exactly how this works, what it means for your payments throughout 2026, and what you should be checking right now. Official Rule Explanation 230.6 Mocon. Let's start with the official rule, straight from Service Canada and the Government of Canada. The Guaranteed Income Supplement is a monthly benefit for low-income seniors who receive old age security. To qualify, your income has to fall below a certain threshold. For 2026, if you're single, that threshold is just under $21,000 in annual income. If you're married or living common law, the limits are different, but the principle is the same. GIS exists to top up your income if you don't have much coming in from other sources. Now, here's the key. GIS is recalculated every July based on your income from the previous tax year. So the GIS you're receiving right now, in early 2026, is based on your 2024 income. Service Canada looks at line 23,600 of your tax return. That's your net world income. It includes CPP, private pensions, RRIF withdrawals, employment income, and investment income. It does not include OAS or GIS itself. But even though GIS is officially recalculated once a year in July, your monthly payment can still change in January, and that's because CPP gets indexed every January. When CPP goes up due to inflation, Service Canada treats that increase as new income, even though your tax return from 2024 hasn't changed yet. They apply what's called an interim adjustment. That adjustment reduces your GIS right away to reflect the higher CPP you're now receiving. This is where the 50-cent rule comes in. For every dollar your CPP increases, your GIS decreases by 50 cents. That's the reduction rate for single seniors. If you're married or common law, The rate can be different depending on your spouse's income, but for most single GIS recipients, it's 50 cents on the dollar. So let's say your CPP went up by $40 a month in January 2026 because of indexing. Service Canada will reduce your GIS by $20 a month. You gained 40, you lost 20. Net result, you're $20 better off. But if your CPP only went up by $30 and your GIS dropped by 15, your net gain is smaller. And here's the part that confuses people. If there are other factors affecting your GIS at the same time, like a reassessment based on updated income information, or if your CPP increase was small, but your GIS was already close to the maximum, the total amount hitting your bank account can actually go down, not up. This is not punishment. It's not a clawback in the punitive sense. It's the design of an income-tested program. GIS is meant to fill the gap. When CPP fills more of that gap, GIS fills less. The goal is to ensure you reach a minimum income level, not to give you unlimited stacking of benefits. Real-life examples, 6:10:30. Let me show you how this plays out with real numbers. Example 1. Margaret, age 68. Single Margaret receives full old age security, which is around $727 a month in early 2026. She also receives CPP of $550 a month, and she qualifies for GIS because her total income is low. In December 2025, her GIS payment was $470, so her total monthly deposit was $727 for OAEs, $550 for CPP, and $470 for GIS. That's $1,747 total. In January 2026, CPP is indexed. Margaret's CPP goes up by 2.7%. That's about $15 more per month. So now her CPP is $565. But Service Canada immediately adjusts her GIS. They reduce it by 50 cents for every dollar of CPP increase. $15 increase means her GIS drops by $7.50. So now her GIS is $462.50. Let's add it up. OAS stays the same at $727. CPP is now $565. GIS is now $462.50. Total, $1,754.50. She's $7.50 better off than December. That's the net gain. But here's what Margaret sees in her bank account. In December, she got $1,747. In January, she got $1,754.50. She notices the CPP line went up, but the GIS line went down. If she doesn't understand the 50-cent rule, she might think something went wrong. Example 2. Robert, age 71, single, smaller CP. Robert receives OAS and a very small CPP payment of $200 a month. Because his income is so low, he gets a much larger GIS payment, around $850 a month in December 2025. In January 2026, his CPP increases by 2.7%, which is only about $5.40. His GIS drops by half of that, so $2.70. Robert's total payment goes up by $2.70. But what he notices is this. His CPP line says $205.40, and his GIS line now says $847.30 instead of $850. He sees a reduction in GIS and wonders if he did something wrong. He didn't. The system is working exactly as designed. His net income went up slightly, but because GIS is the larger part of his total benefit, the reduction feels more noticeable, even though it's proportionally smaller than the CPP increase. Example 3. Diane, age 73, close to GIS cutoff. Diane has higher CPP than Margaret or Robert. She receives about $1,200 a month in CPP. Her GIS payment in December 2025 was only $90 because she's close to the income threshold where GIS phases out completely. In January, her CPP goes up by $32 due to indexing. Her GIS should drop by $16. But here's the problem. Her GIS was only $90 to begin with. When you subtract 16, she's left with $74 in GIS. Diane's total payment goes up by $16, but she's now very close to losing GIS altogether. If her income crosses the threshold later in the year, or if there's any reassessment, her GIS could disappear entirely. So even though she's technically better off, she feels like she's on the edge of losing a benefit. These three examples show you the range of situations. The 50-cent rule applies across the board, but the impact varies depending on how much CPP you get and how much GIS you were receiving before the increase. What to check, what to do, and 1030 to 14 yes. So what should you be doing right now if you're seeing a change in your payments? Step 1. Log into My Service Canada account. If you haven't set up your My Service Canada account yet, this is the time. You can access it online through the Government of Canada website. Once you're logged in, you can see a detailed breakdown of your OAS, GIS, and CPP payments. It will show you the exact amounts for each month, and if there was a change, you can see what triggered it. Look for a section called Payment Details or Benefit Breakdown. It should show your CPP amount, your OAS amount, and your GIS amount separately. Compare January 2026 to December 2025. If your CPP went up and your GIS went down, you're seeing the 50-cent rule in action. Step 2. Check for letters from Service Canada. Service Canada does send letters when there's a recalculation, but the timing can be delayed. You might receive a letter in February explaining a change that happened in January. Don't panic if the letter arrives after the payment change. That's normal. The letter should explain what income information they used, what your new GIS rate is, and when it took effect. If the letter mentions your 2024 tax return, that means they've processed your income from last year and adjusted your GIS accordingly. If it mentions CPP indexing, that's the January adjustment we've been talking about. Step 3. Review your 2024 tax return. Your GIS for the period from July 2025 to June 2026 is based on your 2024 income. If you haven't filed your 2024 tax return yet, do it as soon as possible. Service Canada cannot finalize your GIS rate until they have that information from the Canada Revenue Agency. Look at line 23600 on your Notice of Assessment. That's your net world income. If that number is higher than you expected, it will reduce your GIS. If it's lower, you might be entitled to more GIS, and Service Canada will backdate the increase. Step 4. Understand the July recalculation. Even if your payment changed in January, it will change again in July 2026. That's when Service Canada does the annual recalculation based on your 2025 tax year. If your income went down in 2025 compared to 2024, your GIS could go up in July. If your income went up, your GIS could drop further. This is completely separate from the January CPP indexing adjustment. July is the big reset. January is just an interim tweak based on CPP inflation. Step 5. Know when to call Service Canada. You should call Service Canada if any of the following apply. Your payment dropped and you didn't receive any letter or explanation within 6 weeks. You filed your 2024 tax return months ago. but your GIS still hasn't been recalculated. You believe Service Canada is using incorrect income information. You had a major life change, like the death of a spouse, and your GIS hasn't adjusted. Your payment stopped completely without warning. Do not call Service Canada just because your GIS went down by a few dollars when your CPP went up. That's expected. The system is working. Calling about that will tie up the phone lines and delay help for people with actual errors. Common mistakes and warnings. 1730. Let's talk about the mistakes seniors make when they see this kind of change. Mistake 1. Assuming it's an error. The most common mistake is assuming that any reduction in GIS is a mistake. It's not. If your CPP went up and your GIS went down by roughly half that amount, the system is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. You don't need to dispute it. You don't need to call. You just need to understand it. Mistake 2. Thinking GIS is permanent. Some seniors think that once they qualify for GIS, the amount is locked in. It's not. GIS recalculates every year based on your income. If your income goes up, GIS goes down. If your income goes down, GIS goes up. It's designed to adjust. Mistake 3. Not filing taxes. If you don't file your tax return, Service Canada cannot calculate your GIS. They will stop paying you, or they will pay you the minimum rate, which is almost nothing. Even if you have no taxable income, you must file a return every year to keep your GIS flowing. Mistake 4. Confusing CPP, indexing with a GIS increase. Some people see that benefits are indexed to inflation and assume both CPP and GIS will go up. That's not how it works. CPP goes up with inflation every January. GIS does not automatically increase in January. GIS is recalculated in July based on your previous year's income. The only thing that happens to GIS in January is a reduction if your CPP went up. Mistake 5. Panicking about small changes. A $5 change in your monthly payment is not a crisis. It's a reflection of the income testing formula. If your total deposit went down by $5 or $10, that's usually just the math of the 50-cent rule. It's not worth hours on the phone with Service Canada unless there's a bigger issue. Warning: watch for overpayments. One thing you do need to watch for is overpayments. If Service Canada was paying you too much GIS because they didn't have your updated income information, and then they correct it, you may owe money back. This happens when people don't file taxes on time, or when there's a delay in processing. If you get a letter saying you were overpaid, take it seriously. You can usually set up a repayment plan, and in some cases, Service Canada will just reduce your future payments to recover the debt. But ignoring an overpayment notice can lead to bigger problems, including collection action. Future impact. 1730-20 So what happens next? What should you expect for the rest of 2026? January to June 2026. Your payments right now are based on your 2024 income, with the January CPP indexing adjustment already applied. Unless something else changes in your life, your payments should stay steady through June. You won't see another major change until July. July 2026 recalculation. In July, Service Canada will recalculate your GIS based on your 2025 income. This is the annual reset. If your income was lower in 2025 than it was in 2024, your GIS will go up in July. If your income was higher, your GIS will go down. This recalculation happens automatically as long as you filed your 2025 tax return by April 30th, 2026. If you file late, your GIS will be delayed or reduced until the CRA sends your income information to Service Canada. January 2027. Next January, the cycle repeats. CPP will be indexed again based on inflation. If there's a CPP increase, your GIS will drop by 50 cents for every dollar of that increase. Then in July 2027, your GIS will recalculate based on your 2026 income. This pattern continues every year. It's predictable. Once you understand it, you can anticipate the changes instead of being surprised by them. What if you turn 75? There's one other thing to keep in mind. When you turn 75, your old age security payment increases by 10% automatically. That's a permanent boost to your OAS. But guess what? That OAS increase is treated as additional income, and it will reduce your GIS by 50 cents on the dollar, just like CPP. So if your OAS goes up by $70 a month when you turn 75, your GIS will drop by $35. You still come out ahead by $35, but again, you'll see one line go up and another line go down. What if your income drops? If you had a big income year in 2024, maybe from selling a property or taking a large RRF withdrawal, but your income in 2025 is much lower, you could see a significant GIS increase in July 2026. That's a good thing. It means the system is adjusting to your current financial reality. On the other hand, if you had very low income in 2024, but higher income in 2025, your GIS will drop in July 2026. That can be a shock if you're not expecting it. The key is to think ahead. If you know your income is going to change, you can estimate what your GIS will do in response. Calm summary, 20-22 Zaka. Let me bring this all together. Your CPP went up in January 2026 because of inflation indexing. That increase is real, and it's yours to keep. But if you also receive the guaranteed income supplement, that CPP increase triggered an automatic reduction in your GIS. For every dollar your CPP went up, your GIS went down by 50 cents. This is not an error. It's not a penalty. It's how income-tested benefits work. GIS is designed to fill the gap between your other income and a minimum income level. When your CPP fills more of that gap, GIS fills less. In most cases, your total payment still went up slightly, because the CPP increase was larger than the GIS reduction. But the GIS reduction is visible on your payment statement, and that's what catches people off guard. You should check My Service Canada account to see the breakdown. You should watch for letters from Service Canada explaining any changes. You should make sure your tax return is filed on time so your GIS can be recalculated properly in July. And you should not panic over small changes. A $5 difference is usually just the math. A $50 difference might indicate a larger issue, like a reassessment based on updated income, and that's when you should investigate further or call Service Canada. The system is designed to adjust automatically. It's been doing this for decades. The more you understand how it works, the less stressful these changes will be. The engagement prompt to 22 Gelsawin 23.30. Now, I want to hear from you. When you checked your January 2026 payment, did you notice your GIS went down even though your CPP went up? Did you understand why, or were you confused? Leave a comment below and let me know what your experience was. If you found this explanation helpful, please consider subscribing to Retirement Path Canada. We focus exclusively on Canadian government benefits, and we break down these complicated rules in plain language so you can understand exactly what's happening with your payments. We're going into 2026 with a lot of changes on the horizon. CPP and OAS indexing, GIS recalculations in July, tax filing deadlines, and new programs that might affect your benefits. If you want to stay informed without the hype and without the fear, this channel is for you. Hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next update. We're here to help you navigate the system with confidence. Closing 23:30 to 24. Bars. Thank you for watching. Remember, your CPP increase didn't disappear. It's still there. Your GIS just adjusted to reflect that increase, and that's exactly what it's supposed to do. You're not losing ground. You're seeing the system work the way it was designed. If you have more questions, check the description below for links to my Service Canada account and the official GIS information page on canada.ca. And as always, if something doesn't look right, don't guess. Call Service Canada or check your My Service Canada account to get the facts. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.